I won't share with you what Sarath and Christopher wrote for myself. It was affectionate. What I'd like to share is what they wrote to my wife. The best thing about Christopher, my name is also Chris, about chopping his fingers off was that our friendship blooms. We value your presence in our lives, your bright lights, and we like you much better than Chris. We all know Sarath and Christopher are loving, generous individuals. Whether we've known them as friends, whether we've known them as family. To introduce the first speech for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Christopher's father, Bruce.
Friends and family of Christopher and Sarath, we are gathered here today to celebrate the wedding of two incredible minds who have chosen this venue and you, the people, they have chosen to join them in the celebration of their marriage. An interesting side point is that both Christopher and Sarath had higher GPAs than Winston Churchill. There is no joke to that. That was in his undergraduate degree. Winston Churchill in his undergraduate degree. So, sit. Okay. So, I, as Christopher's father, ask everyone to charge your glasses and salutate to Sarath and Christopher. Could every person here salutate to Sarath and Christopher? History, right. History is an important part. A little history. I was at the house the first night and morning after Christopher and Sarath met. I was there. Before we salute again, I ask all the celebrators to look around the venue. Now this is important. The venue is Brisbane Town Hall, and these are the adults who are here celebrating to identify a fellow celebrator and to charge your glasses with this person. An important thing in this process that we're here is I want to thank and acknowledge Sarath's parents, Naidu, Renuka, Archana and Chantana and their families who are now a special part of an extended family. Right? Can that be acknowledged, please? Now this is the important part. Finally, I wish Sarath and Christopher, all mine and all attendees at the marriage, the best of fortune in your life to get it together, because it's the marriage, right? So, can that be acknowledged, please? On the most unreligious person standing here. I've now arranged for 1 Corinthians 13 to be played to everyone. Now it's arranged and I'm hoping it's going to occur, and if it doesn't, I've got it here, I've got a backup over there, I've got some backups to do it.
Chapter 13.
Here.
If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when perfection comes, the imperfect disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put childish ways behind me. Now we see but a poor reflection, as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love.
Hi guys, I'm Chaitanya, so I'm the middle child, so one of the siblings. My speech is very short and then I'll pass it over to our sister. Her name's Archana, but I call her Akka usually. We have 5 minutes. Yeah, okay. Speaking slowly, I was told to speak slowly. To Sarath, just 3 words, you did well. And now to you, Chris. Good luck, Chris. I'm actually surprised that's all she had to say. I'm joking, she didn't even know, I've got a little bit more to say. So really, I just want to elaborate a little bit on the good luck Chris part, and it is still short. Firstly, a simple, low-key wedding, he said. But here we are now with 400 of Sarath's nearest and dearest. So you might all be thinking that this big event was concocted by our mum, who is Indian, and as you know, Indian weddings are very big. But no, this big fat wedding was all of Sarath's idea. So Sarath, I'm surprised Chris you survived this, because he's a little bit of a bridezilla. Second, Chris, maybe you need to try and see if you can get a little bit of the taxpayers' money by being Sarath's personal cleaner. I don't know, probably not very legitimate, a little bit wobbly. You're a lawyer, you can get through it somehow. So, as you may or may not know, when our parents receive a phone call from Sarath saying he's coming over tonight, all hell breaks loose. There's palpitations going on, there's mad cleaning happening, and then he arrives. He enters through the door, cleaning the surfaces with his finger, checking for dust, as if he's doing end of lease clean for a property. If you happen to be there at the time, it's like a live Jerry Springer show in that bird party abode that evening. Just saying, sir, Mum has a heart condition. Be nice to her. Okay, I'll leave the rest of the roasting to my sister and probably some kind words, which I do not have tonight. Have a great night, everyone, and be sure to have the cake. I'm always one for cake at weddings, and lots of people are not. But I personally know that I tried the cake tonight. I self-invited myself to the cake tasting as well as my husband, and my child, and it tastes delicious. And drink up. A game for you all, if you're not a little bit liberated already, is, sorry, I can't speak. My sister just corrected me. If you're not boozed enough, basically, I'm trying to be proper. We played a drinking game prior to the celebrations beginning tonight on take a sip whenever Chris cries. We actually had to stop the game before the ceremony even began because we're getting a little bit too boozed. Chris, too many tears, more smiles. Cheers to the couple. I love you both. To Sarath and Chris. So, I don't know how I'm going to top that one, but good evening everyone. I'm Archana. I'm Sarath's eldest sibling. Being 8 years elder to him, I played more a maternal role. I remember changing his nappies, but I think he might remember changing his own nappies since it took him a long time to achieve nocturnal bladder control. Now, if it were up to me to sum up my brother in 3 words, I would probably start with smart. He topped the Queensland high school exams. He was the top 50. He was an honours student in medical school. But you might be surprised to know that he failed grade 2. If it weren't for me sitting him down, supervising him with a ruler in hand, threatening to hit him, I doubt he would have become the youngest dermatologist in Queensland to date, or a dermatologist before his 30s. The second word would be social. Sarath loves a good party. He loves partying so much that he accompanied me for my 21st after party at the Townsville nightclubs. It was my 21st, he's 8 years younger than me, so do the math. He used my now husband's, Johan's ID to enter the nightclubs because apparently all brown people look the same in Townsville to the diligent nightclub owners. Lastly, honest. For those who know Sarath well, you'll know that he's the most honest person you'll ever meet. So honest that he can't keep a secret. Now, this might be annoying at times, but if he wasn't so honest now, we wouldn't be here today. He was honest enough to disclose his relationship with Chris, something that most people aren't brave enough to do. It was a difficult step for the son of very traditional immigrant parents. Ultimately, love shone through. Love for parents to see their son happy. Love of siblings to see their brother happy. And most of all, the undeniable love that Sarath and Chris show for each other. So please raise your glasses to Sarath and Chris, a couple whose love illuminates the world around them. Here's to love, laughter, and a future filled with endless possibilities. Cheers to the newlyweds.
I'd like to echo what the last 3 speeches have said. They're both kind, generous individuals. They're loving. And unbeknownst to them, they've also got some wedding favors for you all. If you're unfamiliar with their roles, Chris has recently reskilled into law. He's offering you the chance to get out of jail for free tonight. A select, fortunate number of you will have a card that is underneath your plates. So please take a moment, lift your plate up, and see if you have access to one of these cards. Well done. You are a lucky winner. I calculate there's approximately 128 of you. Now, for those of you with a card, you'll notice that it says chance, get out of jail free. Keep this card until you need it. And in the top left-hand corner, there's a QR code. Now, when I asked Chris what type of law he practiced, he said, oh, it's basically constitutional. I don't know what that is. To me, if I have a law problem, if I find myself intoxicated and too far gone and I need to get out of the arms of the police, I'm going to call Chris. So, if you get locked up, scan that QR code and you'll find Chris's bail bond services. No, seriously, you will. It may or may not be the same Chris that we have seated in front of us this evening. For Sarath, as you'll be aware, he has blossomed into a brilliant young dermatologist. I thought about making a lot of different dermatology puns. What do you see? So, Sarath has kindly offered to anyone this evening one-time offer. If you want a consultation on whether or not you require Botox, if you need your pimples popped, your acne stopped, just go up and ask Sarath. He'll give you his opinion on your face for free.
And I and all of our mates have had a front row seat to this bloody wild ride over the last 15 years. We cannot wait to be there with you and with Chris and with the family that you'll have together for many, many more years to come. So everyone, if you could please join Anna and I in raising your glasses and raising a toast to Sarath and Chris.
Thank you very much, Anna and Ben. I'm very interested to see what this tattoo looks like later on this evening. Now, we're going to hear from one of Christopher's friends, because I feel that we've had a little bit of a go at Sarath this evening. I think we need the same toward Chris. So I'd like to introduce Trent to the stage, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Trent, and I'm a lifelong friend of Chris's. And I've been invited to say a few words, mostly kind, about my friend Chris. But first, on behalf of all the guests here present, I would like to thank Chris, Sarath, and all their families for graciously hosting us all tonight. This is undeniably a wedding I don't think anyone will forget. So please join me for one moment to toast the party. For those of you who are not familiar, let me provide some background on Chris, who has succeeded in life through a combination of talent, effort, and a unique charm. Chris has always excelled in academics, and he was a complete teacher's pet. He has a moderate athletic, He's had moderate athletic success despite limited abilities, unlike his siblings Donna and Anna. Don't believe his story about winning the Kakadu triathlon. He was one of two in the race. And definitely don't believe any stories about him beating me in tennis. It didn't happen. But we do need to give credit where it's due. He was a triple jump champion, except nobody can explain why. Chris earned prominent roles in school musicals, but it's hard to describe him as a star due to the fact that he obviously is tone deaf. Chris is a master debater, both in organized form and amongst friends and family. Any debate with Chris will always see him emerge victorious. And speaking of victorious, we have to mention his performance in the SBS TV game show Letters and Numbers. Chris, at just 23 years of age, appeared on episode 384, winning and staying on for 4 more episodes. He defeated all comers with his mastery of words and math. The game show host Richard took pleasure with the strange array of outfits Chris wore throughout his run. And the show offers us an interesting tidbit about Chris. On episode 386, Chris tells the host that his favorite hobby is cross-stitch. And that during the AFL season, he likes nothing more than playing a game of AFL and then going home to unwind, and then embroidery. It's what he likes to call going from the pitch to the stitch. I love the fact that Chris felt comfortable enough with himself to tell a national audience that. It's petty sensation-seeking behavior at its peak Chris. But I've always admired the way Chris seems to live life. So carefree and bold. And I think it comes from a few key attributes. You see, Chris is a doer, once writing, directing, and acting in a one-man play. Chris is an adventurer, taking off to the Northern Territory to report on the affairs of remote Australia as a syndicated freelance journalist. And Chris is an uplifter. His words, not mine. But I think it's a fitting self-description. Chris physically has a hard time closing his lips. But this leads to an infectious smile that makes the whole world smile too. But his uplifting ways go way beyond the skin deep. Chris really cares about people. Chris engages with people. And Chris will do whatever he can to help those in need. Chris's character is unwavering, unlike his hairline. But he has always been there for me, and I'm sure for anyone who's spent considerable amounts of time with Chris, he's been there for you too. And I want to give you a little example. I'll always remember in Year 12 legal studies, an exam, being completely unprepared and panicking with about 5 minutes remaining, fail and I might fail the entire course. And Chris is sitting next to me, and he noticed my distress. Of course, Chris had finished the exam 20 minutes early and closed his paper to impress his favorite teacher, Mr. Proctor. But he decided to review his answers again, and he did so just in a way that would give me a little languor. And quickly, I fixed all of my multi-choice that were wrong, of which there were many. But this is one of the many examples of the times where Chris has been there for me and helped me out. And I'm forever grateful to have a friend like Chris. Now, when Chris introduced Sarath to the group, he was a breath of fresh air. He was everything Chris was not. He had good taste. He was noble. And he knows how to take a selfie without looking surprised. In the times I've known Sarath, I can say he enjoys family holidays, walking the dogs, a glass of champagne or two, and outbidding first-home buyers on the weekend. Yes, Sarath is just perfect, and perfect for Chris. And it doesn't hurt that he's a board-certified dermatologist, as I think we can all agree Chris's crow's feet require immediate attention.
I fixed them.
I believe they make the perfect couple, and I've witnessed their relationship flourish as they have traveled the globe together, raised 2 dogs and a cat, have purchased a house and made it a home, and then sold it and purchased another house and made that a home too. But aside from all the glitz and glamour of their lives today, their relationship is built on real sacrifice. Chris held a prominent role as a speechwriter for the governor, but his ambition was to always pursue a career in law. And Sarath, already a doctor, was studying long hours to specialize in dermatology. Together they assisted each other in reaching these goals and putting each other before themselves for long stretches. And this is why I know their love is strong, enduring, and an uplifting variety. Now, if you would all be so gracious as to join me to toast to the perfect couple. The perfect couple.
Thank you very much, Trent. I learned some very interesting facts about Christopher just then. Christopher, I'm actually jealous of your hairline. There's not a problem with it at all. I'd now like to introduce and welcome Donald and Anna, Christopher's siblings, to the stage to speak about him.
Alright, thanks very much, Chris. I know for a fact that Christopher and Sarath are both a bit stressed about getting Anna on the mic tonight, so let's just see what happens and we'll go from there. I'm going to just do a couple of shout outs to start with. Yeah, sure, you can do it after me. Thanks, Maggie. This is my daughter, Maggie, everyone. So a couple of shout outs to start with. Our last surviving grandmother's here tonight, Betty Piggott. She's sitting just over here. She's still there. She's got her hand up. If anyone's looking for a bit of life inspiration, Betty's well into her 90s and she's still here at the moment. I don't know what time it is, but it's getting on. She travelled up from New South Wales to be here tonight. And she also had 9 children in quick succession. So if anyone complains about having a busy night, then please go and have a chat with my grandma. A little bit of family context. My name's Don. I'm Christopher's eldest brother.
Yep, and I'm Anna, Christopher's younger sister, and obviously more successful than him. And we've got Sam and Alex over there as well, who are our stepbrothers. And Maggie here is his little niece, who's very excited to talk.
What's your name? No, Maggie it is. Alright. So, a little bit of background as well. You might hear us refer to Christopher as Far tonight. When I was younger, I wasn't very good with words. I'm sure Sarath would still argue that I'm still not good with words. But I couldn't say Christopher, so I just said Far. And that stuck. So, if you hear the words Far, that's why that's there.
Yeah, he might otherwise be referred to as Fafa or Fazzy Wazzy throughout the speech, so that's all about Christopher. So Donald and I were talking the other night and we were thinking about what stories we should bring up from Christopher's childhood that reminded us most of him. And there were a couple that came to mind, so yeah, some of these were...
Well, we've got the endless tantrums about being issued drinks in the wrong coloured cups. I don't know if any people in the room's kids do this, but I know that Maggie certainly does. Colour after colour after colour. Christopher used to whinge about it was the wrong coloured cup. So, Sarath, we've brought a bit of a gift for you tonight, just in case things get a little bit hairy. We've got a nice assortment of coloured cups for you, but we'll come back to that at the end.
Yeah, and this one's from Sam and Alex. So apparently the lawyer and Christopher came out early when he was living in Victoria for a little while with Mum and Rod. And Mum had a lid on the laundry basket. And apparently this was impinging on Christopher's human rights because every time he would have to put his dirty laundry in, he'd have to take the lid off, which apparently he never did. God forbid. It was a very difficult task, Christopher.
This is giving some good insights to how Christopher's brain works. Alright, then we are to the cheating scandal of our 20s. So, as Trent alluded on earlier, Christopher and I both appeared in what can only be described as prime time TV, letters and numbers. And there was a 2-part application process and we applied together. The first part was a personality interview. You really do have to question their processes that both Christopher and I got through, but anyway, we did. The second part was a written exam, and for those that have seen the show, you have to be able to solve a conundrum. So it was mandatory that you solve the conundrum as part of this written exam, which I did very quickly, and was quite chuffed with myself, to be honest. So it was kind of relaxing and just kind of scanning the room, and happened to spot Christopher staring at my exam, and then quickly writing down his response. So yes, it's...
And then there was also we'll call it a phase Christopher went through. He wore beads in his very frizzy hair at the time to his high school graduation. He's also been barefoot on multiple occasions, for example his university graduation, as well as in airports, and apparently had a very undeodorized odour, is what Rod refers to it as. Sorry Saf for bringing this up, I know how you feel about Christopher's hippie phase.
Alright, and then there's the time on Great Keppel Island when our parents were over there for a nice weekend away, and it just so happened that Christopher and 10 of his mates, most of which are here tonight, were also just happened to be on the island without any accommodation booked. And I'm sure you can imagine how that weekend turned out for everyone involved.
Yeah, anyway, these were just some of the stories that we'd talked about amongst ourselves, but we decided not to actually tell any of them because we know this is Christopher's special day and we didn't want to embarrass him too much.
Alright. Now I'm sure most people will attest that Christopher is one of the, and I certainly, I don't know, this has been a theme of my life, he's one of the most annoyingly intelligent people that I've ever met. As young children, our family, we never needed to have a phone book. Christopher used to remember all of our friends' phone numbers and addresses off by heart. He's about 2 years younger than me, and honestly he can remember things from the age of about 2 in perfect, almost photographic-like detail, such as the colour of people's t-shirts that they were wearing at certain events. And then obviously there's the fact that he cheated on me to get onto Letters and Numbers, and he won 5 episodes and I won 0.
And there's one other thing about Christopher I'll bring up, which is that he would read the dictionary every night just to memorise new words. And I swear he used to think about these arguments like weeks in advance. He'd rock up and ask you a question just so he can spurt this argument out at you and use these words you had no idea what they meant. That's one of the biggest memories from my childhood. But seriously, Christopher, I don't want to be too nice to you, but I've always looked up to you as my older brother, and there's been many times in my life where I've looked to you for advice and gone to you as the first person to tell something to, and you've always been there for me, and I really appreciate you as a person and brother in my life. And to Saf, my little Sappy Wappy, even though you think that the North Pole is actually a country, and as the youngest dermatologist in Queensland, you still don't know what side of the body the heart is on, as we all realised during the ceremony today. And the Aurora Borealis, Bruce says. We're so lucky to have you as part of our family. You fit right in, and as much as it pains me to say it, I'm so happy to have you, as part of our family, and love you very much. And I know that you hate the fact that I'd say that I love you, but I really do.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt, my daughter took the microphone off me again. Alright. Anna's pointing to the end.
You had 5 minutes, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we're able to. Alright. I just wanted to say a big thank you to Sats family. From the moment we first met, Sats family has always welcomed us with open arms, and today was an absolute tribute to how much they care about their family and how important bringing everyone together is. I mean, look around the room, there's so many people here tonight, and that's something that we've always loved about Sat, and I'll second everything Anna just said, that it's an absolute honour, and Naidu, Renu, Archana, Chaitanya, so I've been working on that one. Thank you very much. We're excited to have you guys as part of our family, and we really look forward to sharing the futures with yourselves. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want to say.
Okay, just one last thing, we're about to go, but we thought in the spirit of, being Christopher's siblings, we'd do a little toast, but we wanted to first let Christopher choose what coloured cup he wanted to toast in. And we also wanted to say to Sarath, you get to keep these cups to keep Christopher happy through the, life of your relationship and marriage. Cheers.
Now, following his speech, I'd like to now introduce Sarath's parents, Adu and Renika, to come to the stage.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a good time here. And what a wonderful ceremony, wedding ceremony. And the gods held the rain away, and thank you very much, heavens. That was wonderful. We were all worried about how it was going to go. And the second thing, at this venue, we would have attended many community functions, and this is so special. The way Sarath and Chris thought about every detail is so special, and the City Hall has never been like this before, in my view. So, thank you very much for being here. Particularly, I would like to thank grandmother Betty Piggott for being here. It's really something. Big round of applause for her, please. At your age, you wanted to travel and bless the newlyweds, so that was wonderful, wonderful, and thank you, ma'am. And here, every one of you somehow touched life of Sarath, Chris, and us. That's why you are here. And we wanted all your positive energy and good wishes for their future and for their life. So that's why you are all here. And thank you very much for being here. And Sarath has been a special child for us, being youngest and the only boy. He has been such a good boy, and I'm going to ask you one question, and you are supposed to, particularly aunties are supposed to say yes. Aunties loved Sarath so much because he is such a well-behaved and polite young boy. They all used to say, wow, what a son you have. We all wish we had a son like that kind of. Although their sons are as good as Sarath, but they all say that to be polite. So, do you all agree that Sarath has been a wonderful boy? You saw him growing up, and you saw him achieving one of the best things in his life. And do you agree with me? Thank you. And we are very, very proud of my son Sarath and my son-in-law, unlimited son-in-law, Chris. Thank you very much, and we are very, very proud of you. And I'll ask you on one other question. Telugu people can say ante kada nandi, and other people can say yes, yes, yes. Do you agree the young lady next to me is the most beautiful around here? Thank you. So, now you are the judges. The good looks and smart looking young man here, my son, who do you think he is after? I'll leave it to you. I won't put you in a kind of a difficult situation. Thank you very much.
I must say he's inherited definitely the boldness.
I'm here not to tell about all his successes, because you all know more than I do, and as much as we do at least. And we want to tell you a little bit about his childhood and his real nature. Although he's, I don't know, you said so many good things about him. At school, he was a bit notorious. He never used to sit in his place in primary school. He was always chatty. And a couple of his friends and him, they used to be detained and asked to stand up and all sorts of things. And he never used to eat his lunch. He used to take his lunch box and used to bring back. So we went and spoke to his teachers, and we had an understanding. We maintained a journal kind of a thing. And every day after lunch, he had to show his empty lunch box to a teacher and get her signature. And we all thought he has been eating lunch, but what he was doing was he was checking it into the rubbish bin before he went to the teacher to get his signature, his or her signature. And then at the same time, teachers also had problem with him. He never used to read his homework books and things and do homework. So they are concerned, why is this boy not as smart as he should be, and he looks smart but he doesn't do what he's supposed to do. So again they called us to school, and then we had an understanding, we had a book again.
I did it. I did
Yeah.
it.
we had to sign every day that he had read a book or he did his homework. So such was Sarath. He was an ordinary boy, and slowly, because of his good looks from mom and brains from mom, I think he slowly became wiser and became a good child, good student.
The wiseness actually came from his sister's snap beatings.
Yes.
Aiden is study, sit there, don't move.
And even when he went to Brisbane Grammar, he got into trouble, I think, didn't you? I think Mackie is here, he would know, he would tell us, for talking too much in the classroom and yeah, all sorts of things. Yeah. So he used to get into trouble all the time. And the most important thing is, he is the organizer of our lives, particularly me and Renu's lives. When he is coming from Townsville during the holidays, because all three of our children, they stayed outside for 6 years of their studies, and they used to come back every 4 weeks religiously. So whenever he is coming, when we knew, we used to get shakes. Oh my God, he is coming. Let's keep the house clean and everything, as the sisters were saying, he would touch everything and dust is there, and this is not put in the right place, and he is such a fussy boy. And he used to say, Dad, the garden is not looking good, it needs this plant, that plant, okay, we go and buy them. Then he would stand there and, Dad, dig it there, plant it there. So he is a good organizer, a bossy. And he also decides what kind of car we need and what kind of car we should be driving, and what's our last car going to be before government takes our license off being so old. He has worked out all that. And one day he turned up, him and Chris turned up at our house with a brand new Porsche, giving it to the mother. He said, what? Why? We have a car, a good car, we don't need a second car. You know what he said? Mom always used to say that she wanted to be in a Porsche. So here it is, Mom. That's the kind of caring boy he is.
Even now actually, we have a day of Tuesday that he comes for dinner. Because that's the day that we have our grandkids and everybody. I will be cleaning the house every Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Make sure that I actually put my finger and actually see if there's any dust anywhere left. And I told Chris when he comes, please make sure that he only stays downstairs. Let him not go upstairs, because all the things from downstairs are actually piled up upstairs.
Yeah, coming to compatibility-wise, border parties are known for restlessness and a bit of less patience, and no doubt he has the genetics and he inherited that, unfortunately. But it's not all bad. Fortunately, Christopher is such a calm and he's a balancing person in his life, Sarath's life. Sarath gets, oh, it's not right and this is not going well, and he gets really stressed out, and thankfully it's working out very well. This is the point I want to make. We have been married for 41 years and we are not similar at all. But people think, at least when I was a child, oh, we are so similar, we're in love and we're going to this and that. No, it doesn't work like that in life, particularly for young people who are going to get married. This is the reality and the truth. Usually you got to be balancing. If one is very fast in any way, the other has to be in a kind of a balancing situation. Then only life goes on and you can continue for long. And just like Grandma Betty, say she had 9 children. I'm sure she would have been the balancing one in the family. Coming to adaptability, Christopher, coming to an Indian family, he learned using the inbuilt cutlery and crockery. You know what I'm talking about. Eating with fingers, and he does it very well. And also eating the spicy food. He eats spicier than even Sarath can handle. Pickles and gongura pachadi and allam pachadi, all those things. So he is really well trained. And also, he is trying to learn Telugu. It's a South Indian language, my mother tongue. He goes to Telugu school with this kind of 5 or 6 year old, with my grandson there, Ashwin and Meera. He goes to school with them every Saturday and he's learning Telugu. So that shows his really commitment to the family and wanting to be one of us. So hats off to you, Chris. You're doing a great job. And I couldn't be prouder than what I am now today. My son and his partner Christopher make us really proud, and I'm really proud to be here. And I thank Christopher's parents, Bruce and Donna, for bringing up such a nice boy, and also Anna and Donald for really giving him all the kind of support while growing up and also now. And thank you very much, and thank you Amanda for all your support. And a lot of my friends and family travel far from different corners of the country, and I thank you very much, and particularly my family for giving support to Sarath and Christopher is really invaluable. So thank you very much, and I let my wife speak for a little while. I can't be dominating all the time.
I would like to actually invite my nephew, Anup, wherever you are. Anup, I'd like him to actually say a couple of things about how well he actually treated himself when he was in India because he had stomachache, and how well he taught him how to swim. This is Anup, and he's very close. He was 22 when Sarath was 7 or 8 years old. So just a couple of minutes and he'll say a few things and I'll let him do that.
I think when Sarath was in, there's a couple of things I could remember from him when he was in India, when I was in India. He used to say, I have got tummy ache. And I said, what did you do with your tummy? he used to wait 8 to 9 undies to get rid of his tummy at that point of time. The other thing I could remember when he was young, he used to really like chicken skin fat, and when I used to be in India, he came from Australia, but he used to crave for it so much. I always used to think he didn't get any chicken fat in Australia, is it? But then he loved it so much that he got cooked and ate it in India. So that's a couple of things I can remember him when he was young. Oh yeah, the other thing was when I was in Australia, when he was young, I told him he got his leg hurt. I told him, what's happening with your leg, we'll get it replaced with plastic leg. He cried for a week. And thinking, it will melt in sun, I can go into pool, and so many excuses. But anyway, it's all gone. Thanks, sir. Thanks.
Thank you everybody for actually listening to our stories, and I really appreciate your support, particularly being here, and particularly for an Indian family coming from traditional aspects of it, appreciating what is actually occurring in our family is fantastic. I really appreciate your support in the happiness, sharing the happiness that we have about my son and Christopher. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
A common theme this evening between all of the speeches, from Donna's reading of the ceremony, through to Bruce's speech, through Renica and Marty's speech, has been one of giving and generosity. They've displayed to us throughout our speeches, throughout our own experiences, of how loving and generous Christopher is our father. I've experienced this firsthand. I unfortunately experienced an injury in which I was hospitalised for a couple of weeks. They never met my now wife, and they took her in and treated her as they would one of the best friends that they'd known for years. And for that I thank you. So now, I'd like for all of you to join me with your glass, standing for those of you that are able, to welcome and invite Christopher and Sarath to the stage.
I do feel a little bit like I'm winning at life tonight, and unlike my brother, who won, how many episodes, Donald, did you actually win with letters and numbers? 0? I kind of know what that feeling feels like. So, look, I knew pretty early on when we got together that I wanted to be with him forever. And it was very clear to me. And the reason Dad was there that night. Dad was there that day, and the reason that Dad remembers it is because Sarath's mere presence in our lives that day forced my father to do something that he ordinarily wouldn't do, which was to immediately make his bed as soon as Sarath surfaced. But the second reason I know for sure was that I used to keep a diary, and I brought the diary along tonight for proof. And I went and found the very first entry that I ever wrote about it. Now, going back to chasing this little game, I hope that everyone has a full glass, and anyone who does will get very drunk because I might cry very soon. But the very first entry I ever wrote was the 2nd of July 2017, and said, I have just recently realised that I haven't written in here, or elsewhere, it seems, of my love for him. He is an arrogantly charming person, but one with whom I wish to spend the rest of my life. Now, I generally don't recall much of what life was like before we got together. For me, a lot of my clarity starts and ends with him. Sarath is fiercely loyal. He is dogged and practical in the face of adversity. And except for that period between about 5:30 p.m. every evening and around about 10 minutes past whenever dinner happens to be served that night, which I call the witching hour in our household. Sarath is both extremely generous and very kind. For these qualities, I know that I have Sarath's family to thank. So to his parents, to Mama and Atta, I can see your positive imprint on him every day. You are both the most generous people that I've ever met, and your love and devotion for your family and your general strength are qualities that we hope that we can emulate in our lives together. We've been very grateful for your guidance and for the love and support of Archana, Johan, Chaitanya, Samir and their families. It can be a little bit daunting marrying into an Indian family. Sometimes it feels like you are literally marrying into the whole state of Andhra. But honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. And so I want to thank the broader family, all of you, but particularly Anup and Krishna, Silpa and their amazing kids, Indra Auntie and Sasya and Narayan. I'll always be very grateful for the warmth and kindness that you've displayed to me and for the laughter that we've all shared along the way. To my own family, to Mum, Dad, Rod, Donald and Sarah, Anna, Amanda and JJ, Sam, Al and the kids, I thank you all for your love and your belief in us. It really has meant the world. Someone recently asked me to quickly summarise our time together, and it didn't take me very long, because for me it's always been very simple. We found each other, we built a loving bond, and we decided that we'd make it work. And so tonight, I want to raise a toast, not to Sarath and me, but to those who have helped us make it work, which is to everyone in this room tonight. So thank you very much to all of us.
Now, I think that most of you that know me quite well know that I don't like being second in line, second best or second in anything. And although I might be speaking second, I think I'm the most important part of the night tonight, and that's the thank yous. I'd first and foremost like to thank each and every one of you that are in this room tonight for being here. We've had such a memorable time and it wouldn't be possible without all of you. I have said to Chris many times in the last few months that the best part of tonight for me is that we have all of our favourite people all in one place at one time. It's all that matters to me. I would like to say a special thank you for those of you who have travelled some distance to be here today. It's quite humbling to experience and realise that you have friends and family that care so much about you. And I do genuinely mean that, particularly those that have travelled from overseas. Helena, Shantanu, Murugan, Jack, Luke, Simon, Will and Josh and Ben, all the way from Tasmania. Not to forget those of you from Logan. I'd also like to thank Christopher's family, Bruce, Donna, Rod and Betty. As we mentioned, his 94-year-old grandmother who's here tonight, all the way from near Coffs Harbour, and his 4 siblings, being such great supports to us over the last few years, and for welcoming me into your lives so openly, and for helping mould Chris into being the amazing person that I've chosen to marry, which is a difficult thing to do. And Amanda, you're going to get a special mention here because for what you've done to us, words cannot explain. Words cannot even explain. I'd like to also say thanks to my extended family for all being here, Chris has already mentioned. And I'd like to thank my family, my mum, dad, sisters, and my brother-in-laws. Without you guys, our lives would not be as vibrant, as full as they are. Coming from an Indian background, our relationship has been particularly hard on my family, but as per typical Boda Party style, we band together against the adversities which we've experienced multiple times in the years, and always find a way to come back on top. And this is simply due to the strength of my mum and my dad, and the strength they've given me and my sisters throughout my life. Now, moving on to Chris. Those of you that know me well know that I find it very difficult to say nice things about Chris in general, especially in front of people. But today is our wedding day, and no better time to suck it up. I'm shaking, so I'm even thinking about it. But Christopher, it's not been an easy ride for both of us, but we're here. We've carved out a spectacular lives for ourselves with the help of both of our families, and our friends. They say you marry your mother. Although I tend to agree with this generally, I can't say it's completely true in our case. You have the demeanour and incredible intelligence of my father, which is second to none. But you also share the kindness, the thoughtfulness, the selfishness, and the sheer determination of a mother, which makes her a formidable person. Basically, you exude all of the best qualities of my parents, who to me are the best people in my lives. This is why you are such an astonishing person, who I'm so very proud to call my husband. And now, that's enough nice things to say about Chris to last me the next 1,000 years, so I'm going to stop there. But really, thank you all for being here. We hope you've had a good night, and I'll hand it back to Myers to finish off the night for us.
I'm so confused right now. I've never heard Sarath say anything nice about Chris ever. That brings us almost to a close, ladies and gentlemen. What I'd like to do now is to ask Sarath and Christopher to cut the cake, please. Following this, I'd ask them to take the stage, the dance floor in front of us for their first dance.